What's going on YouTube? It's Chris back here with another video. I'm sorry it's been a while, starting a new job, a lot of stuff going on, but anyway, for this video I want to get into Luke Cage Season 2. So yeah, it's been almost 2 years since the first season of Luke Cage came out, even though he wasn't in Defenders. And you know, the Marvel Netflix shows have kind of had issues really since, you know, Iron Fist. You know, they're definitely not hyped up as much as they used to be. So I want to answer the question, does Luke Cage Season 2 measure up? I think it does. Luke Cage Season 2 was a lot of fun. From beginning to end, I felt like they were able to be more consistent than the first season. The new villain was really cool and interesting, and a lot of stuff was just stepped up from the first season. So anyway, let's get into it. The action was great. The action was definitely a step up from last season. There were just a lot more, I think, great action scenes and good action choreography. One great episode is when Danny Rand, Iron Fist, shows up, and he's actually tolerable this time, and him and Luke team up and fight in a warehouse, and it's really cool. They do kind of a combo attack, and that was really fun. And overall, I just feel like, you know, they're just stepping up a lot of the fighting. And especially now that we have Bushmaster, our new villain, is able to be a physical challenge to Luke without a suit, without any weapons or anything like that. And, you know, they fight quite a bit. Like, Luke Cage gets beat quite a bit, and it's just kind of refreshing because Luke Cage is kind of the guy that's like untouchable, so it's nice to see him kind of lose fights, and I really appreciated that. There's a lot more Defenders references and cameos than Punisher and Jessica Jones Season 2. A character from Daredevil shows up. As I mentioned before, Iron Fist shows up as well. If you've been looking at previews, Colleen Wing also shows up for a little part with Misty Knight. So I'm glad they at least acknowledge that the Defenders happened and why these characters know each other. And they mention, you know, stuff like Matt Murdock's death and all that kind of stuff. Because I feel like with Jessica Jones, they just pretty much ignored Defenders. But Luke Cage was much more solidly like, okay, yeah, Defenders happened and this is happening after. So I'm glad that they did that. It just makes the universe feel more connected, and some old faces, you know, some classic faces you expect to show up in the show do show up. Like I mentioned before, Bushmaster was a very cool villain, not just because he was a physical challenge to Luke, but we also got a lot about his origin story and learned why he does the things he does, and why he wants to beat Luke Cage, why he wants Harlem, why he has a vendetta against Mariah Dillard and her family. You know, it really gets fleshed out, and he's Jamaican, and we actually get some scenes of him as a young boy in Jamaica. So, I mean, that is just really cool. You know, I was glad that they took the time to flesh his character out so we understood him and we cared about him to an extent. As far as other new characters, Mariah has a daughter who kind of does some, like, weird pseudo-medicine stuff with, like, herbs, but she really helps give Mariah from last season a lot more character. And the end of the season kind of sets her up for a future arc that seems really, really cool and exciting. As far as other new characters, there's a new kind of rival to Misty in the police department, especially now that Misty has lost her arm, at least temporarily. She was kind of a fun character. Misty Knight herself is as great as ever. She finally gets her robot arm, so now she is classic comic book Misty Knight. I've always enjoyed her. I thought she was great. As far as the other villains, Shades and Mariah are still around, and now they're joined by Comanche, who was Shades' partner in Seagate Prison. They were friends in the prison. They kind of work together. Comanche kind of helps flesh out Shades' character a little bit more. We learn a lot more about him too. He's not just like the shady and mysterious dude. And the relationship he has with Mariah is very, very interesting. And, you know, even Mariah herself, Alfre Woodard does a really good job here as being a queenpin, a female villain. We kind of see all the emotions she goes through, you know, how she kind of deals with the threat of Bushmaster and how her opinion of Luke Cage evolves, and I think she just knocked it out of the park. If you're a fan of Alfre Woodard, you will not be disappointed this season. The negative I will say though is that between a lot of the gangsters, there's a lot of alliance changes where it's like, oh, I want to work together, or I don't want to work together, or I want to work with you, or I won't work with you. And between a lot of the characters, alliance has changed quite a bit. And, you know, it's kind of the victim of the Netflix conundrum where they just have too many episodes. All the Netflix shows, even Daredevil, have this problem where they have to have little dumb conflicts in the middle of the show to stretch it out, and I do wish it was shorter. I think the writer Chill Cooker came out and said, if you don't like the 13 episodes, then don't watch Netflix, which I get what he's coming from because he's defending his work, but I'm also like, you could have thinned this down a little bit. So I advise you, if you're watching through Luke Cage Season 2 and you're kind of like, you know, it's okay to take a break. You don't have to watch the whole thing in a weekend. I mean, avoid spoilers for sure, but I definitely think that if, say, you watch the entire show over a week or so, maybe a couple episodes a day, you might feel a little bit better about the Netflix slog. So overall, it was a great season. I think the writing and the action were definitely stepped up from last season. Not perfect. I'd probably give it somewhere like around an 8 out of 10 or 7.5 out of 10. But I definitely enjoyed the show and had fun. Having Iron Fist come in for an episode was also a really nice treat, you know, because that's a character. He hasn't been great so far, and it was nice to see him kind of kick butt. And I'm kind of interested to see where they're going to take the next season of his show now, especially with, I think Misty Knight's going to be a regular on it with her robotic arm, so we'll get some Daughters of the Dragon stuff with Misty Knight and Colleen, so that's always cool. And overall, I just really enjoyed the show. If you're interested in superheroes, black superheroes and action, I would definitely say you should check Luke Cage Season 2 off. Even if you've been kind of sick of the Netflix shows lately, I would definitely say it was better than Jessica Jones and probably better than Punisher as well. And of course, it was better than Defenders. So I would definitely say if you're interested in the show, just give it a shot. I had a great time. So yeah, anyway, let me know in the comments what you thought about Luke Cage Season 2. And also, if you liked this video, hit the like button and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you all later. Peace. Also, you know, I want to let you know, my videos are a little bit more sporadic now. There's some kind of changes happening in my personal life, like career-wise, so I haven't been able to do like the weekly uploads what I was doing before. But the Two Black, Two Nerdy podcast is still on, still monthly, bi-monthly or so always look forward to that. And whenever I have the time to make content, or I'm super motivated to talk about something like Luke Cage, or, you know, a really cool series, I'm definitely going to bring it up. So yeah, thanks for sticking by if you have, and yeah, again, I'll catch you all later. Peace.